We're going to begin kind of upper body and then end kind of lower body-ish. So we don't apply a lot of oils to our feet and feel really slippery while we're still going to be doing a little bit of movement and flow. So go ahead and find your comfortable seat. We'll kind of shift the flesh away from our sit bones and roll the shoulders onto our back. And begin to shift your torso forward and back and side to side. Just those simple movements, those gestures to allocate this time and space, to delineate what came before to what is happening now and also what comes after. So we give ourselves these bookends of space and time to really dive in, to care for ourselves, to deeply listen and nurture. We all need a lot of resources right now more than ever. To care for ourselves is of the utmost importance in all aspects of our being, not just our physical being, but our emotional wellness and our energetic well-being. So speaking of energetic well-being, let's bring some attention into our breath. So slowly draw your breath in and out. And allow your breath to be this tool of navigation, to notice parts of your body that may have kind of slipped your attention for the past couple of hours or even days. And just see what areas of your body are needing attention, and not just, again, your physical body, but maybe you're feeling some heaviness in your heart or some overwhelm in your mind, some tiredness in your eyes, or fatigue along your spine. So just allow your breath to help you notice what's happening in the spaces of your body and all of its layers. Engaging the Ujjayi breath to help lengthen your breath in and out. This also creates a soothing sound, a sound that soothes anxious thoughts and maybe provides just a moment of stillness between your inhales and your exhales. So let's enrich our breath. If you have some oils that are your favorites, go ahead and put some onto your hands. If you don't have any oils or you don't like scents, this is not required, just a little bit of an enhancement. So when you have the oils on your hands, just kind of rub your hands together, creating a little bit of heat, kind of activating the oils and the scents and the properties, and then open your hands like a book, so you're keeping the outside edges of your fingers touching, and then just wrap your hands around your nose and mouth, and just take a few deep inhales and exhales. We'll slowly press to the bridge of the nose with your first 3 fingers, just kind of pressing down and out underneath the orbit of your eye. Just kind of soothing and relaxing. This area is connected into our sinuses. We're getting into spring, which is lovely, but also for some of us can bring along some allergic reactions. So this is nice to just kind of soothe the sinuses, the sinus pathways, help move things along so they don't get stuck. And then let's go ahead and move our fingertips all the way out to our temples and just begin to rotate your fingertips around. And I would use all 3 fingers just because we don't want it to be too pokey or pointy. Just let your elbows drop down, your shoulders drop down, and then begin to rotate in the opposite direction. Just relaxing any tension held here at the temples. And then we'll slowly bring our fingertips to meet, again, these 3 fingers at the center of our forehead, and then just press and glide. Press and glide, just kind of smoothing out the space of your forehead. You can kind of move a little bit up towards your hairline or down towards your eyebrows. And just relaxing any tension held here. Good, and kind of tracing your eyebrows too, putting some pressure there. It can feel really nice and soothing. Our eyes are getting a lot of screen time, so we want to take care of all the small muscles around our eyes, maybe even underneath, if that feels good, or close your eyes, and you can even very gently massage the top of your eyelid, even into the orbital ridge underneath your eyebrow. So just explore here. Notice what feels good. If you're using an oil, I should have probably mentioned this, that is peppermint or something of that nature, we definitely want to keep that away from the eyes. Sorry if I should have said that sooner. We want just a very neutral oil for this face work to make sure that we're not irritating our skin, and always dilute your oils as well. Let's travel our hands down, and if you want to add more neutral oils to your hands, I'm using a calming essential oil blend from doTERRA that I recently acquired. Kind of moving down your throat. Kind of tracing along with all 4 fingers on both hands. Kind of going down through the cheeks, around your jaw, and tracing down these big bandy muscles on either side of your throat. So your scalene muscles. Good. Let's do one more of these, and then we'll meet back up at our jaw. So using our 3 fingers to just massage the joint of your jaw. You can kind of apply a little bit of pressure, maybe open and close your jaw just a little bit. This is a place where a lot of tension can be held. This can be a source if you have persistent headaches. You may be a grinder or a clencher like I am at night and not even realize it. So you really want to take care of this joint. So maybe even opening, kind of stretching things out a little bit. Good. And then coming down into your throat. Let's just focus on one side at a time, kind of hand over hand. Just rolling over these muscles, gazing over the opposite shoulder. And then we'll take our hands and travel down to the top of our shoulder. And here we're going to kind of pull this muscle forward. This is a nice way to kind of stretch without overtaxing your own arms. See if you've lost connection to your breath and see if you can find it again. Ujjayi breaths, nice long breaths. And if you find a spot that feels particularly tight or radiates kind of sensation to other parts of your body, usually it will radiate upward or directly down. So go ahead and just pause in those spaces. Take your breath there and just give yourself a moment to release. Those are trigger points. And sometimes they can be really tricky because you'll think, oh, this side of my head really hurts. But in actuality, the tension is originating in another place. So if you find one of those spots, do spend a little bit of time very gently exploring and releasing. So just a few more deep breaths. Feel free to shift your gaze a little bit more deeply, just to find a little more stretch. And then we're going to keep our gaze in that same direction and just open our arm to the side. Slide our arm behind our back, opening this shoulder. So you can even keep one hand here at this shoulder, really encouraging the opening and stretching at the front of the shoulder. Deepen your Ujjayi breath. And slowly release. Let's lift our arms up and overhead. And exhale, float your arms down. Switch the cross of your legs. Adding a little more oil if you would like to your hands. I think I'm just going to leave this oil open. And we'll go over to the other side of our neck, going hand over hand. Just giving some nice release. We don't want to be too tough on ourselves. Yeah, we want to give ourselves some nice soothing stroking action here. We don't want to necessarily dig in deep. We want to allow for our bodies to unwind and feel that sense of trust and release that occurs naturally when your body feels more relaxed. So let's move on to our shoulder, top of our shoulder here. This is our trapezius, upper trapezius muscle. And just kind of draw it forward. It's kind of a big bulky muscle. Kind of grab onto it and pull it forward. And you can also play with pressing it back. Just want to make sure that the rest of your body doesn't feel taxed or fatigued. So if it does, you can just give yourself a break. Stretch out your hands as needed. And again, if you find those spaces, those referral points, just pause, or a place that feels solid, like a brick. Pause in that space. Send your breath there. Maybe invite a little bit of movement to help ease the release, softening the tension. Shifting the gaze away from the shoulder that you're massaging, that you're releasing. And then we'll slowly extend our arm out to the side, kind of stretch out our hand and fingers, slide your hand behind your back. And just encouraging this shoulder to open just a little bit more. One more deep breath here. And with your inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Let's interlace our fingers and stretch our arms up to the sky. Good, so that was a lot of hand and forearm work. Might not be used to, so let's give ourselves a little stretch here. And then we'll bring our fingertips forward and stretch into our hand. Make sure that your elbow is soft and that you're pressing into one knuckle at a time. So you're really individualizing the stretch of your hand, the palm of your hand. Good, and then release. Now we're gonna find this really secret pocket. So we're gonna use our pointer finger and thumb to come into the space of in between our thumb and our pointer finger. And we're gonna drop in. Now this is a really powerful acupressure point. This affects everything from the shoulders up. So if you're feeling a lot of pain or pressure in your head, even up into your neck and your throat, this would be a really nice point to kind of spend time. So you kind of press in. You'll feel something. And then breathe into that sensation. Try to let your body relax as much as it can. And then we're going to address the thumb. We're going to kind of wrap our pointer finger around and kind of pull. And we're going to do that with each one of our fingers. So pointer finger wraps around, thumb kind of joins, and then just pull. You might hear a little bit of cracking or realigning. Just each one of your fingers and then shake it out. Good. Let's once again interlace our fingers, opposite way this time. Stretch our arms up and overhead as we press the seat of our body down. Inhale our breath fully. And exhale, release. We'll bring our opposite fingers forward, soft elbow. And again, pressing into your fingers. Good. Each one feeling that stretch travel up through the palm of the hand, maybe even into your wrist. Noticing if when you feel tension in one part of your body, there's another part of your body that begins to adopt that same tension. So see if there's some spaces you can release into. And then we'll find that same acupressure point with our pointer finger and thumb on this side. And dive in and explore. And when you feel that sensation, take a few deep breaths and try to soften and release as much as you can. And then we'll release that point, kind of massage out of it as you massage into it. And then wrap your pointer finger and thumb around each one of your fingers, kind of pull and pull out. Good. Nice. And shake that hand out. Lovely. Let's go ahead and find some movement. Coming on to our hands and knees. Fingers spread wide. We'll begin to move the spine. Inhale and exhale. So see if your tendency is to really push through sensation. And instead tonight, if you can try to meet the sensation as it is. So go ahead and keep moving your spine. And just see if instead of pushing through what you're feeling into what comes next, you can really be with it. And that might require you backing off slightly. So a few more rounds of cat and cow. Pause in a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward of your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Inhale your breath. And exhale, transition into your downward facing dog. And in our down dog, we're going to get really stable. So maybe even walk your hands and feet a little closer so you feel really strong and stable as we're going to move our spine a bit here. So our spine is this pathway of health in our bodies. So we want to make sure that any energy that moves along the spine is in that movement pathway rather than being stuck. So we find various ways to address the spine, flexion, extension, moving side to side or twisting to help release stuck energy and imbalances along the spine. One more. And then slowly move your feet forward towards your hands. Come into your forward fold. Let your head drape down. So in this orientation, we're going to be giving our head a little bit of traction. So we're going to find with our thumbs the back of our skull, the occipital ridge, and we're just going to kind of press and pull down just all along the ridge. It's a really nice position to do this as the working with gravity really helps to create more space. You can have a soft bend into your knees so that your chest can rest on your thighs if you're starting to feel a little fatigued here in a forward fold. So then we're gonna find some place just back from the ear point. So go to the ear point, the furthest edge kind of drops down, and then move in a little bit. And then fingers are alongside your head, and then just a little gentle turning side to side. Giving that nice even pressure downward. Always listening, make sure it doesn't feel like too much. And then release. Soft bend into your knees. Hands rise onto the top of your thighs, rolling up through your spine with the support of your hands. Roll your shoulders onto your back. Good. You might feel like a whole new head. Yeah, kind of a bobblehead situation. Let's reach our arms up and overhead. Take a hold of one wrist, reach up and over to the side. So this is our lateral flexion of the spine. So really opening into your side body rib cage. The rib cage attaches into your spine. So you're creating lots of nice space there. And inhale, return back to center. Up and over to the other side. See if you can nudge this top shoulder back just a little bit more. And inhale, come back to center. If you're not facing the long edge of your mat, go ahead and do that now. We're going to take a nice wide stance. Do a little bit more twisting and rotating into the spine. So bend your knees, find your hands to the top of your thighs, and drop your shoulder down. And then we're going to come out of it and then go into it again. So pulsing in and out of this twist. So this is a way to provide a nice pumping action of blood flow along the column of the spine and all the muscular attachments. One more time, we're gonna hold this one and take your gaze upward toward the ceiling or the sky above you over that shoulder. And come back to center. Inhale your breath, stretch your arms up and overhead. And exhale, return back down to your bent knees. And same thing on this side. So starting off small, knowing that we're going to repeat this a few times. Just having some nice pumping rotation. Supporting the knees, extending in alignment with your toes. And this last one, we're going to pause for an extra breath. Take the gaze along with you. Really nurturing the spine. Nice rotation, exploring that range of motion. Inhale, extending up. And then with our exhale, let's roll down into a lunge. So we're going to find ourselves to the ball of our back foot, and our front knee and ankle are aligned, and we're just going to shift our weight forward and back. So we're going to roll towards the toes, kind of stretch into your toes, and then press back so your heel is stretching back. So our front leg is mostly just a layer of support, and this is focusing on the back leg and foot. One more gentle rock forward and back. And then we're going to drop our knee down. You can keep your back toes tucked or untucked, whichever. And then inhale, hands come up to the top of your thigh. We're going to open our arms, feeling that nice opening into the front of your shoulders. Slightly knit your rib cage in. And deepen the bend into your front knee until you start to feel the sensation in the front of your hip. Remember, we're meeting sensation where it is, not just barreling through it. So we're meeting ourselves in that place of awareness. And then we're going to move our spine. So bring our forearms together, draw our spine back, and then inhale, open our arms like wings. Maybe even allow your head, if you're not feeling too unstable in this, to come along with this flexion and extension. One more time. And keeping your arms wide open, extend your arms up to the sky. And exhale. Bring your hands down. Tuck your back toe, lift your back knee. Step your back foot forward to meet your front foot. Come back into your forward fold. Here we're going to return to that stretch and decompression of our neck, our upper spine. So we're going to, again, use our thumbs, that occipital ridge of our skull. Maybe you like just the pressing and gently extending, or you like the twisting a little side to side. Soft bend into your knees, deepening your breath. And with your next inhale, find your hands to the top of your thigh and rolling up. Just feeling that nice articulation of your spine. Roll your shoulders open, sweep your arms to the side and up. Give yourself a moment in case you feel a little lightheaded, and then we'll do up and over to the other side. Really sending your breath into your side body, expanding through your rib cage, the top of your hip. Inhale through the center, up and over to the other side. And inhale, return to center. And we'll face the long edge of our mat once again. So we have all this experience of twisting, rounding, expanding. So we're going to inhale our arms to the side, find a nice steady shape in our lower body, and then we're going to draw our right arm underneath our left. Nice modification for this, nice option, is to hold on to opposite shoulders instead of the palms to touch. So you choose. So we're feeling the strength and steadiness of our legs. The opening of the space between our shoulder blades, not barreling through the sensation there, but meeting it with our awareness. And with your inhale, release your arms. Stretch your legs. And we'll return back down with our knees bent. Opposite arm, left arm underneath the right. Feel your feet connect to the ground. Feel the strength of your legs holding you steady. Notice the flow of your breath. The texture of one arm pressing into the other. Notice how that feels. And with your next inhale, reaching your arms wide. And then with your exhale, coming back down. So this time I had my left leg in front, so I want to make sure I switch sides. So make sure you have your opposite foot in front. Mine was a little tricky because I was facing the same long edge of my mat. So we're going to shift forward and back a few times. Toes and heel. And then slowly dropping our back knee down. You again can keep your back toes tucked or untucked. Bring your hands to the top of your thigh. And with your inhale, sweep your arms to the side and up. Good. Find that perfect amount of bend into your front knee. Bending your elbows, knit your rib cage together. So feel your waistline slightly move back. And then find some movement into your spine. Allow that energy to flow. Imagine your spine like a highway of energy moving up and down. One more time. And extending our arms up. And bringing our arms back down. Good. Tuck our back toes, lift back knees. This time we'll step back into our plank pose. We're gonna lower knees, bend our elbows, lower chest and chin. Extend ourselves onto the support of the mat and shift our forearms forward. Gaze from side to side. Just meet the sensation where it is, not pushing through it. The repetition of this movement will gently start to open up those spaces as they're ready. One more gentle turn of your head. See if you can draw your shoulder blades a little bit more together on your back, and then bring your head back to neutral. You can keep your elbows right where they are for 2 more deep breaths, or you can press into your hands. Feel a little more stretch into your belly. Make sure either way your shoulders are moving down and together. And slowly release. Let's extend our right arm out to the side, coming into a restorative, passive shoulder stretch. You can step your top leg up and over for a little more support and steadiness, or you can just have your legs together. And because this stretch is passive, we're just really using our body weight to stretch more deeply. It's very important that we listen and pay attention to the sensations that we're feeling. That again, we're not ignoring. Instead, we're fine-tuning our awareness. Let's take one more deep breath here. And slowly release. We're going to shift to the other side. I'm going to move my apothecary. Here we go. And just relax. Really soften your body into the support of the ground. Release a little bit of the effort of this pose. Sink into more softness and ease. And slowly return onto your belly. Hands slide underneath your shoulders with elbows hugging in. Press back up through plank or tabletop position, coming into child's pose. We're going to start with a knee wide child's pose position. Unless this doesn't feel good into your hips, then feel free to draw your knees together. Another option for support would be to slide a blanket between your thighs and your lower legs. That's a really nice level of support. Gently let your head and your forehead press into the mat as you rock your head from side to side. Gently soothing any tension in your forehead. The rhythmic flow of your breath coming in and out. One more gentle turn of your head to each side. And then return to center. Hands underneath your shoulders. Press up into your downward facing dog. And play with the distance between your hands and feet. Maybe the variation we did earlier with our hands and feet a little closer felt really nice and stable. Feel free to bend your knees if you like. Anything that feels good into your body in this shape. With our next breath, step your big toes to touch. Inhale, float your right leg high. Just a little opening at the front of your hip. Bend your knee and step to the space between your hands. Rotate your back foot. Windmill your arms. Come into your Virabhadrasana 2. Gaze over your front fingertips. And then take a moment and gaze over your back fingertips. The front fingertips get all the glory in this pose. So we want to make sure there's an equal balance between your front and back hands. That will help equalize the right and left sides of your body. And then with our arms nice and balanced, we'll play with the bending and straightening of our front knee. Finding that place that's perfect for us this evening, which may be different than how it's felt perfect in the past. So finding that perfect level of bend, soften your shoulders down your back. Feel a nice opening into the front of your shoulders. One more deep inhale through your nose. Release, exhale through your mouth. One more time. Glide your back hand to find your back waistline. Slightly press your back waistline into your back forearm. And then reach your arm up and overhead. Good. Make sure that you're not just dropping back, that there's a nice upward lift. Finding all that space to move into. Still staying connected with this back arm. And then with your inhale up and over the top, find your forearm with the top of your thigh. Now here, before you even release, send your waistline back. Feel the fullness there. Feel that support from the front of your core. And then release your arms, starting up and overhead. See if you can find a little more length in the energy highway of your spine. Rotate your palm and begin to extend your arm. And if that doesn't feel good, keep your arms straight up overhead. It's a really nice variation of this pose. And then with your next inhale, we're reaching with these top fingertips, coming all the way up. Lengthen through your front leg. Heel toe your back foot in. So we want to narrow the base of our body. Make sure the front heel is aligning with the arch of your back foot. Now in Trikonasana, I find that it's a really easy place to just move through to a place we've always gone. So we're going to first start by kind of teeter-tottering in and out. Finding a nice dropping into the hip crease of our front leg. Good. This is kind of a barometer check. How is that hamstring feeling? Yeah, how far can we go to meet our sensation of stretch? Good, now find that perfect spot, pause there, extend your top arm down, your front arm down, and your back arm up. This might look or feel very different, but it's much more stable and honest and true for who you are and how you're feeling this evening, rather than just going to the place we always go. more deep breath. Reaching with our top fingertips, coming back into our warrior two arms, and then windmill down, frame the front foot. You can choose to move through a vinyasa. That would feel good into your body. Plank pose to chaturanga, or knees, chest, and chin to heart opener. If not, you'd like to meet us in downward facing dog. That's a wonderful option as well. I'm going to take 2 more deep breaths here. With our next inhale, sweep your left leg high. Exhale, bend your knee. Step to the space between your hands. Coming into your warrior two. Good. So setting the alignment of your feet. Legs are nice and steady, and then gazing to your front fingers and back to your back hand. Make sure they're nice and balanced in the way that they're extending. Now firm your legs, draw the muscles into the bones, and see if you can stretch your fingertips out just a little bit further from the space of your heart. And then slide your back hand to find your back waistline. Breathe into that support there. Reverse warrior up and back. And then play with the deepening, bending and the straightening into your front knee. Find that perfect layer of bend, that perfect depth. And inhale, lifting your spine and torso up, and then keeping it long as you extend over your front thigh. Good. And then reaching this arm up and overhead, hug your shoulder blades together, feel your rib cage knit in. And then if you'd like to extend the arm, you're welcome, or to keep your arm lifted straight up towards the sky. See if you can imagine how it feels to breathe into your forearm behind your back. So shifting your rib cage back just a little bit. And then with your next inhale, return back up to your warrior two. Lengthen through your front leg. Walk your back foot in just a few steps. And then we're going to teeter-totter. Kind of seesaw a little bit. Finding that nice crease level in your front hip. Listening to how it's feeling. Might feel very different than it did on the other side. Find that perfect amount of crease. Drop your arm down and up. Make sure you're not locking out into your front knee. And with your next breath, reach with your top fingertips all the way up to the sky. And then windmill your arms down. Moving through a vinyasa or meeting in downward facing dog, your choice. And with your next exhale, we'll lower down to all fours. Shift your hips to the side and bring your feet out in front. So we're going to do some nice self-care into our feet and a little bit into our lower legs. So if you have your oils nearby, if you're using them, you can go ahead and take your oils and rub them in your hands again. We're just gonna have some nice even pressure into our feet. Yeah, our feet, they take such good care of us, and we very rarely give them the love that they deserve. So I like to do a couple of things here. I can take my thumbs and kind of peel my feet open. That can feel really nice. Going all the way down to the heels. The heels don't peel open very well. And then take our thumbs, and we want to use our body as we apply pressure. We don't want to just use the joints of our thumbs and the muscles of our arms. We can kind of just shift our weight a little bit forward with our torso. And that gives just a little bit of extra pressure as I'm walking my thumbs down the line of my arch, my foot. And when you find your way to the base of your big toe, let's pause there. There's that place where your toe kind of begins. We're going to spend a little bit of extra time there. That equates to our neck in reflexology. So you can kind of trace along the bottom of your big toe. You might notice some spots that feel really tender, places that feel a little tingly. That's all really normal. And you can just kind of press and you can pull just a little bit, giving a little bit of that space and traction like we did with our fingers. And then we'll take our thumbs and kind of move on the outside edge all the way to the top of our big toe. And that's our brain point. So you can use your pointer fingers to press down on your brain point. That can just help to clear a cloudy brain. And then just trace that pathway. Some nice stroking can feel really good here. Now, if you're not a foot person, this might be enough. If you're a foot person and you don't mind going into the toes, you can go ahead and take your fingers and kind of slide them in between your toes. Okay, so this is a really nice way to stretch out your feet. Give your toes some nice space. Not that we're all walking around in tight shoes so much anymore these days, but it's a great way to stretch our feet out when they're kind of more confined. And kind of pull your toes back and press them forward and just kind of move them around. Just allow your fingers to become spacers for your toes. Take a few deep breaths. If you're low enough, you can bend your elbows and kind of press to the inner line of your calf. It's a little bit of multitasking, and kind of press into that space. We're going to be addressing that in just a moment. So wherever you are, be there for another deep round of Ujjayi breath. And then release. And we're going to draw our thumbs up, and we're going to press this bone, this shin bone. We're going to press to the inside edge of your shin bone, moving all the way up towards your knee. And you'll find little nuggets in there that'll feel like something. Okay, so just up and down. It doesn't have to be a lot of pressure. Again, we're just really nurturing ourselves here. We're not barreling through the sensation. We're meeting it where it is. And then we'll draw our knees up towards the center, find our feet to the earth, and then use our thumbs, kind of travel down. Fingers actually are working better to the outside. Kind of travel down. There's not usually as much sensation here, but just notice if you're finding any spots. And then we're going to meet the back of our heel right into our Achilles with this kind of motion. So knuckle of your pointer finger and thumb kind of pinching. It's a nice massage. It's a lot of dense tissue, the back of our calf and our Achilles, so it can take a little bit of that pinching sensation. Okay, now we're going to just take our right foot and drop it in. Left foot, we're going to take our fingers to meet at the bottom of our foot. So this point is called bubbling springs, and it's kind of in between, it's definitely in between the ball of your foot and your heel, just below. It kind of drops down if you look at your foot. It's a little bit of an indentation. That's where we're going to meet our fingers. Our first 3 fingers press kind of parallel to one another. And then we're going to find length into our spine. Our sit bones press down. Inhale, just a little lift of the leg to increase the pressure. And then exhale, lower down. And just a little pumping action of the leg. Dropping into that bubbling springs. This is great for calming your nervous system. Getting a little more revitalized into your system. One more. And then drop your heel down. Move your fingers towards your toes and just stretch your toes back. Just feel that nice stretch into your toes, maybe even into your lower calf. And then switch sides. Find your bubbling springs on the other foot. Find your sit bones grounding down. And then with your inhale, lift your leg. Exhale, lower down. Just a few times, lifting and lowering. Good, one more time. Drop your heel to the ground, swing your fingers around, and draw your toes back. Lift your spine long. All right. So if you have a blanket nearby, that can feel really nice as we begin to settle into our Shavasana. So roll down onto your back. Take your arms wide, your feet as wide as the mat, and just gently drop your knees from side to side. Let your knee drop to the point where it is, not forcing it past. Let's do one more of these to each side. And then notice if your hips feel like they're a little bit more tender and they'd like a figure 4 stretch, you can find that now. Or go back to your bubbling springs point in your happy baby and just rock gently from side to side. And of course, any other posture that would feel good at this point in your practice, please feel free to find that now. 5 or 6 breaths of movement or stillness before we settle into our final resting pose of Shavasana. If you have something to make you feel a little more cozy, feel free to add in those layers. Not rushing to get into your Shavasana, taking your time, attending to the position of your body, even if it's very small adjustments. And taking the next 2 to 3 breaths, really deep, Ujjayi breaths. Using your breath to navigate your attention and awareness through your body. Noticing where you feel the energy moving, what sensations you feel, where you feel ease, where you may still feel some tension holding. And then just let your breath go. Drop into the support of the earth. Release any held tension in your forehead, your eyes, your jaw, your throat, your chest and shoulders, your arms and hands. Release tension held along the column of your spine, your rib cage, your abdomen, let your hips get heavy, your legs, through your knees, your shins, and your feet and toes. With your body resting in stillness, invite a release of any churning thoughts, release of attachment to them, and allow them to move in and out of your awareness, just as if they were clouds passing by. Invite your thoughts to be light and fluffy like clouds. Just very gently and peacefully move. Slowly begin to deepen your breath, inviting movements back into your body. And as you feel ready, roll on to one side, whichever side is calling you. Rest your head in the support of your arm. It's a very sweet position of your body, this opportunity for reawakening, new possibilities. And with the support of your hands, rise to your seat. Take our hands and rub our palms together, covering our nose and mouth, kind of cupping as we begin. Maybe you're not smelling the essential oils, but you can feel the heat of your breath and the movement of it. Release your arms to the side and up. Inhale your breath. Exhale, drop your hands down. One more time like that. The light, the wisdom, and the teacher inside of me bows to the light, the wisdom, and the teacher inside of each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. It's always such a treat to share the gift of yoga. Always happy to have the opportunity to do so. So if you have any questions or feedback, please let us know, myself and the other teachers included. We're really enjoying teaching these classes, but there is a certain level of challenge to teaching to the device, and so the interaction really helps us feel connected into the community. So instead of just talking at you, we get to interact and talk with you. Just a little housekeeping note. Do check your inboxes as we are preparing for our May 1st running of payments. If you are still signed up to pay and you would like to continue doing that, thank you so much. We cannot express our gratitude enough for your support in continuing to support us, even though we're not open yet. And if you do not or cannot continue to pay, and if you have been, please indicate that so that we can remove that automatic payment from happening from your account. So lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your night.